EA has been sick of losing money for quite a long time now, and it seems that with the acquisition, there's going to be some major changes. They're going to be canceling titles, shutting down studios, making teams smaller, and we are finding out that in just a month, in January, they are going to be shutting down multiple titles. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, some of these games we have known for a while that January was going to be their last month alive, that they were going to be shut down, and this raised a question previously about video game preservation. It was brought up in the discussion of Stop Killing Games, but we do know that there are going to be 3 major titles that are going to be taken offline. These servers are no longer going to be maintained. So it says EA, officially known as Electronic Arts, is set to shut down 3 games next month, including a BioWare game, leaving all 3 either partially or wholly unplayable. For those unfamiliar with the latter, they are the studio best known for Dragon Age and Mass Effect, as well as Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Meanwhile, the other 2 EA games come from Maxis and EA Triburon. In the case of all 3 EA games, each has already been delisted, but the servers have been maintained. This is changing, though. It is wild to see a BioWare game being shut down in a headline. You would think that BioWare would not be creating games that would be shut down very quickly, and I know that Anthem has been out for quite a few years at this point, but it has never really been successful for them. It has never made them the money that they expected, and that's why they're finally saying enough is enough. So the shutdowns are set to begin on January 12th with the BioWare game actually. More specifically, on January 12th, EA is set to turn off the servers of Anthem, BioWare's maligned 2019 multiplayer action RPG. Development of Anthem ceased back in 2021, while its delisting came back on August 15th of this year. So when it comes to Anthem, it has never been successful. It was a gigantic failure, but we know that BioWare has gone through a lot of problems, and a lot of those problems stem from Dragon Age the Veilguard. It was an absolutely terrible title. I highly recommend you stay as far away from it as you possibly can, but we saw layoffs. BioWare now has under 100 employees, and the only thing that BioWare is currently working on is the next Mass Effect game, and it sounds like if that Mass Effect game fails, they are going to completely go under. We do know that Veilguard caps off a decade of BioWare underperformances with failed new live service IP Anthem and the much memed Mass Effect Andromeda that did not match the quality or sales of the original trilogy. Now, Dragon Age of Veilguard reportedly did half the engagements EA wanted, just 1.5 million, and with EA Play, that's not even sales. Reviews were okay, and many Dragon Age fans did in fact like it, but not nearly enough that showed up. This game was wrecked on social media. I personally didn't see many people that liked it. I saw a lot of criticisms, and it just was not the level of quality you would expect from a studio with the prestige of BioWare. But yes, Anthem is now on the chopping block alongside 2 other EA games. One of the other EA games shutting down next month is The Sims Mobile, which is shutting down 2 weeks later on January 24th. Released a year earlier than Anthem, The Sims Mobile was made by developer Maxis as a mobile adaptation of The Sims 4, and it was delisted in October. The third and final EA game shutting down next month will shut down on January 30th, and this is the least consequential of the 3. More specifically, EA is shutting down NBA Live 19, which was released in 2018 and remains the latest installment in the series after EA put it on ice following the release, and that was also delisted at the end of October, like The Sims. And really, this boils down to money. These games were bleeding money. There's not a lot of players in them, so they did not see a financial reason to keep them alive. They did not see a reason to actually continue to put developers on these games, but it does raise a question and concern about video game preservation. Video games disappear for many reasons, whether it's licensing issues, code being lost, or physical media becoming unplayable, and the developer's decision to end Anthem server support speaks to a problem specifically combated by Stop Killing Games, a consumer movement out of the European Union that argues this practice is destroying some titles unnecessarily. And yes, I believe that when you purchase a game, you should be able to access it whenever you want, or they should give you the tools to be able to access it. Yes, over the years, we have seen some games' multiplayer components shut down, but the issue with all of these titles is they will be completely unplayable when these servers go offline. This is the major issue with live service games. You cannot play them offline. They have no offline only mode, and something like Anthem will be completely unplayable in just a few weeks. Somebody paid full price for that title. Somebody paid $60, and you are taking their experience away from them. I get that not a lot of people liked Anthem. I get a lot of people were disappointed with it, but at the end of the day, when somebody purchases something, they should be able to access it, and that is not the case here. In just a few weeks, you will never be able to play Anthem again. It says Stop Killing Games won't be able to do anything to stop the demise of Anthem. The organization relies on petitions and tries to seek government intervention, actions that couldn't achieve outcomes before January. Still, says founder Ross Scott, the sunsetting is exactly the sort we're trying to prevent. The goal is to break the cycle so this doesn't keep happening for future games. And yes, I do totally and completely agree with this sentiment. It is hard, though, to bring the government in to the video game space, because ultimately you never want the government to be doing anything unless it is a last resort, because they will always push the limits. They will always sink their claws into a situation, in this case, the video game industry, and there will certainly be issues that are brought to light that they pay more attention to. It's always a slippery slope. But at the same time, we need to be protected. Customers need to be protected. These companies don't care about respecting us and our purchases, and this is such a big issue in the video game industry. And again, I don't feel bad necessarily for Anthem or The Sims Mobile or NBA Live 19. These are not games that I personally have a stake in, that I'm emotionally attached to and connected to. But at the same time, when people invest their time, money, and effort into an experience, yes, that should not be ripped away from them. And I will always hold firm on that stance. And I don't even really feel bad for BioWare or EA because they're losing so much money on these experiences. They were the ones who greenlit these projects. They were the ones who developed and created these terrible experiences. And maybe if they had put a lot more work and effort into Anthem and they delivered on their promises, things would be going better for them. And you could say the same thing about Dragon Age the Veilguard. But yes, these are multiple games that EA is shutting down next month, and I think that we're going to see this happening more and more as time goes on. If you look at EA, they are going through this major acquisition. They are, I'm certain, going to be taking a hard look at all of their studios and games and where money is going, and I think that it is going to be a whirlwind of changes at EA over the next few months. But as consumers, unfortunately, we are now facing the problem where games are being delisted, servers are taken offline, and games are going to be completely unplayable if they were live service slop to begin with. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.